Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. The New York Knicks just came out with a much needed victory at Madison Square Garden, taking on the Houston Rockets. The final score being 109-94. And with this victory, the New York Knicks are now 24-17. That's what they go on to improve to. The New York Knicks remain that 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. Of course, when I was recording this video, the standings weren't updated, but now they are. The Knicks are the 5th seed, so I'm freaking happy. Let's go. As the Magic are not much far behind us, especially with that tiebreaker of them being 2-0 against us. It was very important to come out victorious in this game. So the way the New York Knicks took over in the second half, they definitely brought that urgency, and they're like, we're winning this damn game. We can't afford to drop another game. As Jalen Brunson came back, and he did not miss a beat at all. He did not look rusty. Maybe the only way he was rusty was from the free throw line. He was 4 for 7 from the free throw line, but this dude was operating from all three levels. He was working downhill, finishing with physicality. He was hitting some off-balance shots from mid-range, which were ridiculous. The shots he was getting to fall, executing from downtown. He finished with 7 assists, so he had a 30-point game, 7 assists on good efficiency. Obviously, Julius Randle stepped up as well. But this wasn't an easy game. Maybe some Knicks fans thought, we were just going to destroy this team in the first half. The Rockets are a more competitive team under Udoka. Let's keep that in mind. This is the guy that coached the Celtics to the NBA Finals. Obviously, there's more polished talent on that Celtics team, and the Rockets have been struggling lately. But this is still a team that you should take serious. Şengün's on the rise. Jalen Green's up and down, but you never know what night you're going to get from him. He could produce. Dillon Brooks defensively, and he's been solid offensively, averaging around 13 to 14 points per game. You have a kind of an underrated rookie that's in a weird situation of a Men Thompson. So this is an interesting basketball team. Fred VanVleet, you added some veterans, like when you take a look at the Houston Rockets situation. But this was a really sloppy game in the first half. The New York Knicks scored 48 points in the first half. The Rockets scored 46. We were only up 2 after the first half, but a win is a win. I'm not complaining about it at all. It was just an old school, gritty basketball game in the first half, forcing turnovers, crashing the glass, and there was just a brand new element. It felt like a brand new element because you're just not used to seeing it in today's NBA. Just the physicality was at a whole other level that I loved. The New York Knicks were down a couple actually after that first quarter. Just a lot of switches were flipped when it came to the second half. It's literally a tale of two halves, because in the first quarter you could tell maybe there wasn't rust when it came to scoring the basketball, but maybe Jalen Brunson operating and running the offense and kind of being the leader. Obviously he's a good leader, he communicates well, and he fights his ass off, makes no excuses at all. He puts it on him if he makes a mistake throughout a game. But just kind of guys being in the right spot at the right time. I felt like we were kind of just rusty when it came to that department, to be completely real with you guys. But we ended up just really keeping this Rockets team in check when it mattered most, because Jalen Green got off to a very good start in this basketball game. He had 7 points in a few minutes, and he finishes with 14 points in this basketball game, shoots 0 of 5 from 3. We really got after him when it mattered most and got up in his jersey. He could be a talented scorer, and I'm not going to call him scrawny, but he's someone that still needs to get stronger in his young NBA career, coming from the G League Ignite program, and was a terrific player when it came to prolific prep when it came to high school, but we really stepped up defensively on him when it mattered most. I thought Isaiah Hartenstein did a very solid job on Şengün when it mattered most in the second half. He got some garbage time points, Şengün, but Hartenstein, he got into foul trouble a little bit in the first quarter. We're out in transition. Give credit to the Rockets. They're swiping down at the ball, and we just weren't able to really get anything to gel offensively. And that's for both teams. You have to really give credit to both of these teams. This wasn't a pretty three-point shooting game, but the New York Knicks were the better rebounding team. I thought we're more consistently defensively. It came down to who's going to produce defensively, who's going to start knocking down shots when it really mattered most. You could have Alperen Şengün getting a bucket in the first quarter. You could have Jeff Green even putting his body into someone and getting a bucket. But is the bench going to step up? Is there going to be complementary pieces? It comes down to more than just your best players out there on the basketball floor, and that's just literally what the story was for the New York Knicks. Julius Randle was able to score at a very high level. He was able to crash the glass. Jalen Brunson was able to score at a very high level, but it came down to getting OG Anunoby involved. When we got OG Anunoby involved in that third quarter, that's where the switch was really flipped. Julius Randle hit that three, first possession of the game in the third quarter, knocks down a 3. And then not too long after, OG Anunoby back-to-back threes. That's where I thought the New York Knicks really started to click. And the bench was struggling early on as well. That's why we were down after that first quarter and why we were only up 2 and why it was a sloppy offensive game, because even though Brunson and Randall were scoring the basketball, Isaiah Hartenstein hit 7 points tonight, not a big-time explosion of a game. OG Anunoby only 4 points when it came to halftime. He had a bucket off of a transition dunk, and then he drew a foul. Dante DiVincenzo, it was not his night. Miles McBride had 0 points in the first half, had 0 points for the entire game. Josh Hart wasn't producing offensively, even though we know he could rebound the basketball. Precious Achiuwa wasn't really giving us anything. So there definitely is a concern when it comes to the bench. Grimes was silent in the first half, but when it came to the second half, he had Grimes get to the free throw line, execute from the free throw line. He was still confident shooting the 3 ball, even though he didn't shoot it exceptionally well. He still knocked down 2 threes and produced for us. McBride didn't score a lot in those 11 minutes, but I thought he competed very hard defensively. And then you have Josh Hart, but he had 14 to 15 rebounds. He's unbelievable. He had 14 rebounds in this game, and he came off the bench. Alperen Şengün was their leading rebounder when it came to the Houston Rockets with 10 rebounds, and then you had Julius Randle that was around the 8 to 9 rebound department. So we had a player, Julius Randle, that was our second best rebounder tonight, or no, he was our third best because Isaiah Hartenstein had 11. So you have 3 guys that literally, you have our third best rebounder tonight of Julius Randle almost matched Alperen Şengün's total of rebounds, who is their best rebounder. So that speaks volume of how much we really wanted the basketball. But it wasn't just OG Anunoby, obviously, work downhill, hit a couple threes that really got us going. Julius Randle hitting a 3, who was very good tonight. He was very efficient in the first half. He had some plays that really frustrated me when he looked to push the pace, and he turned over the ball a couple times. He had 4 turnovers in this basketball game. But he did enough to help us win. I feel he's a better player when Jalen Brunson's out there on the floor, obviously coming back from this injury. And Jalen Brunson literally he takes away my anxiety when it comes to, we need a bucket. And the shots he was hitting tonight were just unbelievable. If I was to tell, a casual fan, oh yeah, he hasn't played for, the last couple games, they'd be like, you're lying. Because the efficiency, I guess he was just rusty from the free throw line, but this crazy off-balance jumper that he got to go from baseline, mid-range territory, unbelievable. 3 players on him somehow got this push shot to go in the interior in the second half. He got the 3 ball falling mid-range, working downhill, got to the free throw line, had 7 assists. I thought his vision was better in the second half. I thought he looked more like a leader in the second half, just from an IQ standpoint out there on the floor. So Jalen Brunson took pressure off of Julius Randle tonight. He was really able to produce. But seeing Josh Hart produce and Grimes produce in the second half really helped out OG Anunoby. So he had 4 points at halftime. I want to say he had 8 points when it came to that third quarter, so that was really big time. And Randall had a very nice play when it came to the second half. In transition, unselfish pass, beautiful pass to OG Anunoby for the and one dunk. It just felt like the New York Knicks made more pop plays on the offense side of the basketball and defense side of the basketball. Alperen Şengün offensively was trying to take advantage of OG Anunoby in the paint. OG Anunoby it was no, get that shit out of here, had a block, and literally the same possession. I believe Alperen Şengün got the offensive rebound. This is during the same sequence, swiped out of the ball. Isaiah Hartenstein and OG Anunoby were able to come up with a steal that led to some good offense in transition. So OG Anunoby, I thought, played very well defensively. Isaiah Hartenstein swatted a shot into Isaiah Hartenstein had a block on Alperen Şengün when he was trying to finish in the interior. It just came down to Fred VanVleet had scored over 20 points. Alperen Şengün got his buckets, but they weren't meaningful buckets when it really mattered most throughout this game, if you understand where I'm coming from when it comes to that perspective. And you needed more from Jalen Green. Their bench didn't step up at a very high level either. When you take a look at the Houston Rockets bench, and I'm not saying our bench was very good. It needs to be more consistent. We need more offense, especially you need to get OG Anunoby involved more. You have to run to get OG Anunoby more involved in this offense, even though I thought he looked less hesitant in the second half. But you have Amen Thompson here of the Houston Rockets. He had 4 points in 10 minutes. He had a bucket. One of his only 2 buckets came in that first quarter. Jayshawn Tate with 2 points. Yeah, they didn't have anyone that really stepped up at a high level. Jeff Green was their leading scorer off the bench when he came to 9 points, while Josh Hart gave you those 10 points with just awesome rebounding out there on the floor. Dylan Brooks struggled from the overall field. Yeah, Fred VanVleet was their leading scorer with 24 points, 12 assists. Played solid, but he was decently efficient, wasn't extremely efficient. But when it came to meaningful buckets, the New York Knicks stepped up in that department. They were better offensively, they were better defensively in the second half. But I guess some nitpicks. We got to make a move when it comes to a backup point guard. Literally anyone. Maybe the Spurs, I don't know if he's much better, but from an experience standpoint, I believe he hasn't been in the playoffs. Trey Jones, how much of an upgrade would it be over McBride? You probably can get him for nothing. Or even shooting. Do the Spurs want Doug McDermott? We could trade for Doug McDermott. I think that would honestly be a good move off the bench. Doesn't need the ball in his hands to be successful. Runs off of screens and be wide open. But Jabari Smith Jr., 11 points. he hit 1 3. When you hold him to 1 3, that's very good. But outside of Fred VanVleet, he made 5 3-pointers. Alfred Sengun didn't hit a three. Jalen Green didn't hit a three. Dylan Brooks made 1 3. Jabari Smith Jr. made 1 3. And then Jeff Green made 1 3. The rest of the team did not make a single 3-pointer. So that was really big time. And the way the New York Knicks were able to finish in the interior. Shout out to Julius Randle tonight. Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby in that third quarter. Josh Hart really produced. Isaiah Hartenstein got out of that funk a little bit when it came to foul trouble. I just thought we started to play a more cleaner game in the second half. Dante DiVincenzo really struggled from the field, 2 for 7, 1 for 4 from 3. I thought he forced some threes early on. He had 5 points. But Precious Achiuwa, he's really a throw-in in this trade because he does not impress me at all, but he only had 6 minutes. Malachi Flynn, he was really a throw-in. He played 1 minute, but I'm not a huge fan of Malachi Flynn. But yeah, McBride really produces defensively, but he still looks lost when it comes to initiating the offense out there on the floor. Thought Grimes played solid as well. Let me know down below your thoughts on this New York Knicks victory. Wasn't pretty in the first half. We took care of business in the second half. Peace out, y'all.